All right, so get this. We're diving into Grok 3 today.
Grok 3.
Yeah, Elon Musk's XAI project. And
Right.
the hype is real. Some are even calling it the smartest AI on Earth.
Oh, wow.
We've got a stack of info to sort through.
Okay.
So let's figure out if this is the real deal or just another AI fad.
Well, it's definitely not just hype.
Okay.
What makes Grok 3 so different is this combination of deep learning reinforcement learning
Uh-huh.
and then this massive WIDA models they've built.
Wow.
It's a level of adaptability and processing power that's pretty groundbreaking.
So it's not just another chatbot like we've seen before.
Definitely not. Remember those times when you're trying to have a real conversation with something like ChatGPT
Yeah.
and it feels stuck?
Right.
Grok 3 is designed to learn in real time.
Real time.
Imagine an AI that's constantly updating its knowledge base.
Wow.
It's like it's plugged into the world's newsfeed.
Hold on. Real-time learning. Does that mean it's actually creating its own study material?
You got it. It uses a technique called self-generated data.
Okay.
So Grok 3 can create its own training examples to fill in gaps and challenge existing biases in data pulled from the real world.
Okay.
Think about how much public data is out there.
Yeah, it's
It's messy, it's biased, and it's constantly changing.
right.
So by creating its own training material, Grok 3 can become smarter and less reliant on that flawed data.
That's
They're also mixing in carefully curated data sets, which makes the whole system more robust and accurate.
That's wild. But what about the tech behind all of this? What's making Grok 3 tick?
It's using a transformer model,
Okay.
which is a type of neural network that's become really popular for language processing.
Uh-huh.
But what SAI has done is optimize this model to process information from Twitter in real time.
From Twitter.
Yeah, that means Grok 3 is constantly learning and evolving its understanding of the world.
Wow.
As new events unfold, it's similar to what you see with GPT-4 and Google's Gemini,
Right.
but designed for speed and real-time learning.
So it's not just reading the news, it's processing it and learning from it as it happens. No wonder people are calling it a game changer.
Exactly. It's like having a super-powered research assistant
Right.
who's always up to date on everything.
Wow.
And it's not limited to just text. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Grok 3 is multimodal.
Multimodal, so it can understand more than just words.
Absolutely.
Oh.
We're talking text, images, diagrams, you name it.
So
Imagine uploading a complex financial report.
that's
A Grok 3 not only understands the numbers,
right.
but can also analyze the charts and graphs.
Oh, wow.
Or picture a doctor using it to analyze medical scans in real time during surgery.
That's incredible.
It has the potential to be revolutionary.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. But this level of processing power
Yeah.
must require some serious hardware, right?
You bet they've built a supercomputer called Colossus in Memphis, specifically for Grok 3.
Okay.
It's running on 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs.
100,000.
And get this, they're planning to double that number to 200,000 and eventually aim for over 1 million.
100,000 GPUs. That's like giving Grok 3 a brain the size of a small planet. No wonder it can process information so fast. But what's the big picture here? What's XAI's ultimate goal with this?
They want to create a general-purpose digital assistant
Okay.
that's seamlessly integrated into our lives.
So, like...
Think about it. You could have an AI that can not only answer your questions,
Uh-huh.
but also anticipate your needs and help you make decisions.
Wow.
They're already talking about future updates that'll make it even faster and more personalized.
So it's not just about making a smarter AI. It's about making AI that's useful and accessible to everyone.
Exactly. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Grok 3 isn't the only player in the game.
Wait, there's competition. Who else is in the running?
There's a Chinese startup called DeepSeek
DeepSeek.
that's been making waves in the AI community.
Uh-huh.
They're developing some pretty impressive AI capabilities similar to what we see with Grok 3, but they're focused on doing it at a much lower cost.
So they're kind of like the underdog trying to shake things up.
You could say that their approach is making a lot of people take notice. They're
Really?
attracting top talent, and they're very strategic in their development.
Interesting.
They're focused on efficiency and scalability, which means they could potentially make advanced AI accessible to a much wider audience.
This is getting good. So we've got this battle brewing between XAI and DeepSeek, both pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI. But where does that leave us?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're on the verge of a major shift in how we interact with technology.
it does feel that way.
And it's up to us to decide what that future looks like.
Okay, I'm hooked. Before we get into all of that, let's rewind a bit.
Okay.
You mentioned Grok 3 being multimodal. Tell me more about that and why it's such a big deal.
So it's not just about understanding different types of data. It's about generating images and visual content. They
Really?
call this component Aurora.
Aurora, is that like those AI image generators that everyone's been talking about?
It's similar but way more advanced.
Okay.
Think photorealistic images rendered in real time with almost no limitations on the content it can create.
So like no limitations.
Almost none designers could use it to generate endless design variations. Architects could create virtual walkthroughs of buildings that haven't even been built yet. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
Wow, so we're talking about an AI that can not only analyze information, but also create original content that's a whole other level.
Exactly, and it all ties back to that massive computing power we were talking about,
Right.
with a million GPUs at its disposal.
Wow.
Grok 3 isn't just processing information, it's creating it.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a team of artists and designers working 24/7, but at the speed of thought.
You mentioned that SAI is planning to upgrade the Colossus supercomputer even further.
Right.
What's the reason behind that? Is 100,000 GPUs not enough?
It's like they're trying to future-proof Grok 3, making sure it can handle the ever-increasing demands of AI development.
I see.
Think about it, the more data it processes, the more complex its algorithms become, the more powerful the hardware needs to be.
So they're anticipating even bigger data sets, faster processing speeds, more complex algorithms. What kind of advancements are they hoping to achieve with all that power?
One key area is expanding Grok 3's knowledge base.
Okay.
They want it to be able to access and process even more information from a wider variety of sources.
Right.
That means it needs to be able to handle different types of data, from scientific papers to news articles to social media posts,
Right.
and be able to connect the dots between them in meaningful ways.
What are some of the challenges in ensuring that Grok 3's expanding knowledge base remains accurate and unbiased?
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
The more data you feed an AI, the greater the risk of introducing bias or inaccuracies.
Uh-huh.
That's why XAR is putting a lot of effort into developing algorithms that can detect and mitigate bias, as well as working with experts to curate data sets and ensure the information they're feeding into Grok 3 is as accurate and representative as possible.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act, trying to make sure Grok 3 is as knowledgeable as possible without compromising its accuracy or objectivity.
Right.
What other improvements are on the horizon for Grok 3?
They're also focusing on enhancing its multimodal processing capabilities.
Okay.
Right now, it's pretty good at understanding and responding to different types of input, but they want to make it even better at handling complex combinations of text, images, and even audio.
So they're basically trying to create a digital version of the human brain capable of learning and understanding the world in all its complexity.
Exactly.
And on top of all of that, you said they're also focusing on personalization features.
Yeah, imagine having a version of Grok 3 that's specifically tailored to your needs and preferences.
Okay.
It could learn your habits, anticipate your requests, and provide you with information and recommendations that are truly relevant to you.
That would be amazing. But with all this talk about power and capabilities, we have to address the elephant in the room.
Right.
How do we make sure something this powerful doesn't become a runaway train? How do we ensure Grok 3 is used for good and doesn't end up doing more harm than good?
That's the million-dollar question, and honestly, there's no easy answer. It's something we need to be thinking about very carefully as we develop and deploy these advanced AI systems.
So it's not just about building a smarter AI, it's about building a smarter approach to AI.
Precisely, it's about understanding the potential risks, establishing ethical guidelines, and making sure we're always in control.
Okay.
It's a responsibility that falls on all of us developers, policymakers, and even everyday users.
This conversation about responsible AI development is so important. Now let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and get back to the competition.
Yeah,
We were talking about DeepSeek, the Chinese startup that's challenging XAI's dominance.
right.
Tell me more about them. Why are they considered such a serious contender?
They're taking a very different approach to AI development. While XAI is focused on building the most powerful AI possible,
Uh-huh.
DeepSeek is focusing on making advanced AI accessible and affordable to a much wider audience.
So they're going for mass adoption rather than just raw power. That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that?
They're streamlining their development process, focusing on building efficient algorithms that can run on less powerful hardware.
Okay.
They're also working on developing cloud-based AI platforms that can be easily integrated into existing systems.
So they're trying to democratize AI, making it a tool that's available to everyone, not just big corporations and research institutions. What does DeepSeek's leadership say about their goals?
Their CEO has said publicly that they believe AI has the potential to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, but only if it's accessible to everyone. They see themselves as playing a key role in making that happen.
It's like they're trying to level the playing field, giving smaller players a chance to compete in the AI arena. Do you think this approach could give them an edge in the long run?
It's certainly possible in a world where technology is becoming increasingly commoditized. The ability to offer high-quality AI at a lower cost could be a major advantage. It could open up entirely new markets and applications for AI.
Okay, so we've got these two powerhouses, SAI with their focus on power and DeepSeek with their emphasis on accessibility. What does this mean for the future of AI development? Is it going to be a two-horse race between these companies?
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but it's important to remember that the AI field is incredibly dynamic. There are countless other companies and research institutions working on cutting-edge AI technologies.
So it's not just a two-horse race. There are other players in the game. Tell me more about some of these other contenders.
Absolutely. You've got companies like Google and Microsoft who are investing heavily in AI research. You've got startups popping up all over the world, each with their own unique approach to AI development. And you've got universities and research labs pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
This is getting really exciting. It sounds like we're on the cusp of a golden age of AI innovation with all these different players pushing each other to develop new and better technologies. But with all this focus on competition and advancement, are we in danger of losing sight of the bigger picture? What about the human element in all of this? How do we make sure that AI remains a tool that serves humanity rather than something that we become subservient to?
That's a crucial question, and one that we as a society need to be grappling with right now. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of all this new technology,
Right.
but it's important to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
So how do we ensure that the AI is used for good?
It's about being mindful of the potential risks, being transparent about how AI is being developed and deployed, and making sure that we have the right safeguards in place to prevent unintended consequences.
That makes sense. It sounds like we need to be having some serious conversations about the ethical implications of AI, and not just among developers and policymakers, but among the general public as well.
Absolutely, we need to be having a public discourse about what kind of future we want to create with AI. It's not just about the technology itself, but about the values and principles that guide its development and use.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical details of Grok 3 and DeepSeek to the broader societal implications of AI. It's been an incredibly insightful conversation. What final thoughts would you leave our listeners with as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI?
Yeah, it really feels like we're at this turning point
Uh-huh.
where AI is starting to move beyond just being a cool tech demo and into something that's going to have a real impact on our lives.
Yeah, and it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about how it's changing our understanding of what's possible.
Exactly. We're starting to see AI tackle challenges that were once considered exclusively within the realm of human intelligence.
Really?
Things like creativity, problem solving, even intuition.
Wow.
AI is starting to show signs of being capable of all of those things.
It's almost like we're rewriting the rules of what it means to be intelligent,
Yeah.
and the pace of innovation is only getting faster. What are your thoughts on the potential long-term impacts of AI? What are the big changes we might see over the next decade or two?
Well, one area where AI is poised to have a huge impact is automation.
Okay,
We're already seeing this in industries like manufacturing and transportation,
right.
but it's going to go way beyond that.
So like what?
Think about tasks like data analysis, customer service, even creative writing.
Wow.
Many of these jobs are likely to be automated to some degree, which means we need to be thinking about how we prepare for that shift.
So it's not necessarily about AI taking away jobs, but rather transforming them.
Exactly. It's about augmenting human capabilities, allowing us to do more with less, and freeing up human workers to focus on more complex and strategic tasks.
So like,
Think about doctors being able to use AI to help diagnose diseases more accurately, or teachers using AI to create personalized learning experiences for their students.
that makes sense. It's about using AI to enhance our abilities, not replace them. What about fields like healthcare and education? How do you see AI shaping those areas?
Well, in healthcare, the possibilities are endless.
Okay.
Imagine AI-powered systems that can analyze medical images with greater accuracy than humans,
Wow.
or personalized treatment plans based on an individual's genetic makeup.
Really?
We could see a future where diseases are diagnosed earlier, treatments are more effective, and people live longer, healthier lives.
It's like giving doctors a superpower, allowing them to see things they couldn't see before and make decisions with greater confidence. And what about the impact on education?
Well, AI could truly personalize the learning experience, tailoring it to each student's individual needs and learning style.
Okay.
Imagine AI tutors that provide real-time feedback and support helping students master concepts at their own pace. It could make education more accessible and effective for everyone, regardless of their background or learning challenges.
It sounds like AI has the potential to make education more equitable, giving everyone the opportunity to reach their full potential. It's not only inspiring to think about the positive impacts AI could have on society, But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the potential downsides. Are there any areas where you see AI posing a risk?
It's important to acknowledge that with any powerful technology, there are potential risks.
Sure.
One concern is the potential for job displacement as AI becomes more sophisticated. It's inevitable that some jobs will become automated. It's crucial that we think about how we prepare for that shift and ensure that workers have the skills and support they need to adapt to a changing job market.
So it's not just about developing the technology, but also about making sure we have the right policies and support systems in place to manage the social and economic impacts of AI. What other potential risks should we be aware of?
Another concern is the potential for bias in AI systems.
Right.
If AI is trained on biased data, it can perpetuate and even amplify those biases. This could lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes, particularly in areas like hiring, lending, and criminal justice. It's crucial that we develop AI systems that are fair, transparent, and accountable, and that we have mechanisms in place to address bias when it occurs.
That's a really important point. It's not enough to just build smart AI. We need to build AI that's ethical and responsible. What steps can we take to ensure that happens?
Well, it starts with being mindful of the data we use to train AI systems. We need to make sure that data is representative and diverse, and that we have mechanisms in place to identify and mitigate bias. It's also important to have clear ethical guidelines for AI development and deployment, and to involve a wide range of stakeholders in the conversation about AI ethics.
It sounds like it's going to take a collaborative effort between developers, policymakers, ethicists, and the public to make sure we're steering AI in the right direction. It's not just a tech issue, it's a societal issue. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical intricacies of Grok 3 and its competitors to the potential impacts of AI on society. It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has been a fascinating journey, and I think it's safe to say that the AI revolution is just getting started. We're at the beginning of an incredible era of innovation and discovery.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing you'd want them to remember from this big dive into the world of AI?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something that we are actively shaping with the choices we make today. Whether AI becomes a force for good or a source of harm depends on the decisions we make both individually and collectively. It's up to all of us to engage in this conversation, to ask the tough questions, and to work together to ensure that AI is used to create a better future for everyone.
Well said. The future of AI is in our hands. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.